Welcome back to another round. I'm your co-hostess Jay, and today we're doing Marriage Boot Camp Hip Hop Editions, episodes 3 and 4. So before we get started, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and hit that like button. That bell button, so you can stay up with all our latest drops. Let me bring my special guest up here. You guys already know he's the coach with the most. And so all I can do is just let him introduce himself. But I like doing it because he likes using this name, ex F boy, actually ex church F boy.
Yo. What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good?
What is good, my boy? How are
What's
you
good?
today?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I'm alive and I'm well, baby.
Yes, I'm glad we
Mm,
finally made it back together.
I know.
I
Seems
know
like
it's been a while.
it's been a while, baby.
Yes.
Mm,
So here we go again with all of these crazy couples in this house.
the shenanigans, the shenanigans.
It never ends.
And never
It,
not on this show anyway. At least there's more of
mm,
it. So
it
yeah.
it's weird. It's just like I'm just trying to at this point. I'm just trying to see how far they're gonna push the doctors because they
Mm.
about two cuss words away.
Yes, and they. I mean, yeah, they're on edge. They're on edge. I'm not gonna lie to you. The couples, some of them are really on edge, and they're at
Yes.
a breaking point. So yeah, this episode kind of just showed us a bit more of those cracks that are kind of working its way through the couples
We got to think about it. They did 14 days together
in
solo
quarantine.
in
Yeah,
quarantine, and then now they're in another form of quarantine with just more people because
mm,
they're stuck in the house
yeah,
with
yeah. I
the
mean,
other couples.
that can bear a weight on the relationship. So I'm not gonna not take that into account with what they're probably going through. But I
Right.
think it's only exposing what was already there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. With some people, it's exposing a lot if
Mm-mm.
that wasn't there, because some of us have not been living together in the first place. So,
Mm.
you know how it goes. You don't know somebody till you live with them.
That's how it
So
be. Mm.
that's how it is.
Yep. That's how it be. I mean, yeah. I mean, we got set from a very early jump from the beginning, didn't we? I think
Hmm.
the first kind of scene we get is Treasure, if I'm correct. Treasure with her drinking and she meets the judge as
Yeah,
well.
she comes back to meeting the judge, and she's having a sober moment. She's having a moment of
Mm.
clarity, and we can clearly understand her. There's a lot going on with Treasure underneath the surface because the fact that she's an exotic dancer, but she has a lot of just like insecurities with
Mm.
herself, not necessarily with a relationship, but it's more so internal insecurities because it sounds like a lot of people have not told her she was good enough.
Yeah.
And so that starts to come out a lot of it. And she also says that she has social anxiety, which plays into
Mm.
her drinking and stuff. So it was like a lot to imagine that you have social anxiety, but you're exotic dancer. You
Mm.
decide to be exotic dancer because you're putting yourself in a social environment half naked.
Yeah.
So I can kind of see where drinking comes in because of the oxymoron of it all. But
Mm. Especially if
yeah.
you've got anxiety. So yeah, you gotta I guess wipe away the anxiousness, and the drink kind of helps that.
Hmm.
But it's whether this anxiousness comes from somewhere else though. So the drink is just covering up the anxiousness, but anxiousness is coming from a root cause.
Hmm.
And I think for her, um not feeling wanted, not feeling appreciated, not feeling valued, and then you enter into a space because, like, not every exotic dancer has been through necessarily a traumatic event in their childhood. Some do it because they just need money at the time, and that's the
Hmm.
only option. But a lot of people do enter that space with trauma, and the trauma is compounded by being in a space where you are selling your dignity. Now, I am not against any exotic dancer out there, by the way. Okay,
Not I either
I'm not against you. Listen, do
at
your thing.
all.
Okay, do your thing, make your paper, make your money. But you are selling your body for ogle eyes of men. So the validation is actually coming from men who have sexualized you as an object. So if you've already got validation issues, you're in big trouble,
Mm-hmm.
because as soon as the crowd dissipates, you've got no one to cheer you on. Then the drinking has to compound itself again, because you're drunk to be on the stage, and then once the applause finishes, you drink again, because that applause has stopped, because there is no one else to validate you, seemingly. So it's actually a really dangerous, toxic cycle to be in, which I think is why we find Treasure, in the space that she's in now, where she's even in a group amongst peers, and she just can't stop drinking, bottle after bottle. And I'm not just, the girl will drink.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Beautiful girl. She seems bright. She's seen some level of intelligence, and it's like, girl, you are literally drinking yourself underneath the table every night. You're running from something.
Yeah. And then, like you said, the dangerous thing about drinking like that is the problem never goes away.
Mm,
You're just coping and you're covering the
yeah.
problem with the alcohol, and the problem never goes away. So as soon as you're sober again, the problem's still there in your face. So again, you turn back to the bottle. The funniest thing that she said too, though, is the drinking is her alter ego.
Mm,
It didn't bring out her alter ego. She doesn't use it to enhance her alter ego. It is her alter ego.
mm,
That's even more dangerous,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
this is the whole, you made this now a whole separate entity to
Mm,
where it has its own life.
yeah.
And she says she kind of likes it sometimes when she's in that state.
Yes, she did say that. I remember. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it gets a little dangerous with that. And
Yeah.
Molly is not making it no better.
Molly's exasperating the issue further, because he actually represents precisely the environment she's trying to run. She's trying not to be in,
Hmm.
or the environment that she doesn't need to be in. You know what I mean? Because again, she's waiting for the applause, because you're waiting for Molly to validate you once more again. And when he doesn't do that, when he doesn't show you the love, when he doesn't show you the care, when he doesn't show you the security, the stability that you're actually requiring from a partner, you're doing exactly what you're doing before, which is now having to try and get the validation by performing for him, right? So
Hmm.
a lot of women are in this position sometimes when they're with a man, and they have their own validation issue. They'll get with someone, and that person will be an absolute dud, but because obviously it's almost a Simon Cowell effect. Everybody wants Simon Cowell's validation, even though he's the meanest judge out of everybody, right? So it's that same effect in a relationship. That person's mean, they're not really loving you. And I'm not saying Molly's even that bad, but brother, let's be honest. Yeah. He does. I personally don't see the care. I personally
He,
don't.
if it's See, the thing I've come to pick up, especially when you get through episode 4, if it's not
Mm.
about Molly, it doesn't
If
matter. It does not matter. Long as the attention is on Molly, Molly is the spotlight, Molly is the issue, it matters to Molly. If it's not any of that, it does not matter. So he's tolerating
mm,
her at this point,
mm,
which is never a good thing, because you don't want to be in any relationship where you're tolerated,
absolutely.
any type. So that, like I said, furthers her behavior as far as drinking and stuff concerned, is because I think she obviously knows to some degree that she is just being tolerated by
Yeah.
him.
She can
And
feel
so
it.
she just goes through her whole day when she's around him. And
Mm,
I'm going to say, well, she's around him because that's what we see right now. Because
yeah.
maybe she has a different day when she's not around him. Maybe she's
Mm,
more sober when she's not around him. But while she's around him, because everything is about him,
mm,
and she gets overshadowed.
mm,
And like we say, we're looking for validation, and so all of the validation is never coming to me. I
yeah.
might as well sit in my alter ego, who can tolerate not being tolerated,
Mm,
which is the drinking.
yeah. 100%, 100%. And it's yeah, absolutely. I mean, and the evidence for that is that we know in the earlier episodes we got to hear that obviously they're a long distance relationship. It's more about when he comes into town that they really connect. So it's like, that in itself is a tolerance. It's like I'll connect with you when I come into town. This is to be honest, this is for me. This is classic F boy behavior. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to, be around you, sex you, use you as emotional comfort when I'm in town. When I'm out of town, you can't rely on me. You can't really be, I'm not really involved. This is not really a relationship that is stable. It's a temporary measure. It's a business transaction. I come through. You entertain me for a few weeks, few months, and I go back out on the road or whatever I'm going to, and we go back to our normal basis. And I think her drinking, as she said, is an alter ego. We call drink spirit for a reason. So that she's inhabiting another spirit, and I'm talking about the drink, by the way, and that drink is allowing her to be what she wished she could be: confident, brash, say what she wants to say, be free, maybe a little bit more. Now, there's a downside to that, because we see a far more emotional treasure. But the other aspects are that outweigh that cryingness, which is that she's more brave, she's more brazen. In fact, she said it in her letter. She wants to be those things, but she can't be those things without the drink. And so there's our answer for Treasure. Treasure, you need to be vacating this relationship, and you need to work on self so that you can have this confidence in yourself, to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. Because what's happening right now is she's being sucked into his world, and then she's being sacrificed to a god. That's what she's doing. She's sacrificing her whole life to another man as if he's a god. That's what's happening here, And because you're wanting the reciprocation from that god to give you the validation that you are special, you are treasure, and you're not getting it, you start to cut yourself emotionally. And this is what she's doing. Emotionally, she's cutting herself by drinking. So yeah, it's a lot that's happening with her.
Yeah, and then Molly, on the other hand, is that toxic version of a high value. We all want a high value person, period. Based off of what our value system is. But what he is a definition of a toxic high value man. Because in his head, he already has that mentality: I'm a high value man, so I can get whoever I want, whenever I want. And you should be lucky that you're with me. And he treats her as such, outright as such. You'll see him being affectionate and all this, but when it come down to it, and you get into that later on episode 4, when he gets in a heated moment and he gets an audience, he tells her how he really feels, which was not the best time or word choice that he decided to use, because he said things like, I can get any B out here and stuff, and then turned around and called her a thought behind it. But the funny thing about it is, while you're doing it, you're walking away kind of saying it just loud enough for the room to hear, but you're not bold enough
to say it with chest.
Just say it with your chest, brother. Like, if that's how you feel, because you let your anger, sometimes we talk out of certain things. We talk out of the alcohol, we talk out of anger, and we tell what we really feel in those moments. And then one thing I did notice about that is, because I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, is when they were confronted with what made him angry, he didn't say anything right then and there. Amber lashed out right then and there, and he was trying to control Amber back. But when he got the audience downstairs and she's trying to explain what was going on, then you want to lash out at her and make her feel bad about herself, because you knew that's what you was doing and you knew it would work. So I can see this dynamic just not really being anywhere good for Treasure in the long run, because he's not only enabling her to drink, he pushes, and I hate to say that he's triggering her, but he's triggering something within her, and it's almost knowingly.
Yeah. On this occasion, this actually a person is generally trying to trigger the other person.
Generally trying to trigger the other person.
Trying to get the person to be triggered, yeah.
Because you had all means, while you seen her in the act of doing what she was doing, you had all means to say what you wanted to say then, but you didn't. You waited. So you contemplated this, and you meditated on this moment to sit here and call this girl out, and then gaslighted her. This was a real gaslight right here at the end, when she said, you called me a thought in front of everybody. He said, no, I didn't. And then when she said, no, Nori and them heard it, he said, but isn't that a thought? Isn't that what a thought is? So
now he's changing it. Yeah.
I was like, wow, okay. So you stand in this. You stand in what you believe, that she's a thought. So it was okay that she's a stripper, she's an exotic dancer and everything. But in this moment, because you're mad, your feelings are hurt,
Mm.
You're gonna call her out of her name, all kind of names. All right.
Truth coming out, man. Yeah, I mean yeah, man, he's, I think he's got his own toxicity, do you know what I mean? And I think with Treasure, unfortunately, he doesn't see, if you don't see someone as a partner, especially with us men, if we don't see you as a partner, best believe you're likely to be used,
Mhm.
because the only reason why we're using is because we don't see you as a partner. We don't see you as a co-equal. When a man sees a woman as a co-equal, bar the abusive guys, they don't treat a woman this way. But he doesn't treat Treasure in the right way because she's not a co-equal. She
Right.
is a thought to him,
Mhm.
right? He might not always say it out loud. On this occasion, he did, and it was just to jab and hurt her. But his actual thought process, she is lesser than me. So, baby girl, listen, I could have another you in a minute, as Beyonce said. Like I really could. So I'm not losing here. See what I'm saying? I'm not really losing. And that's why he treats her as the way he does. That's why you never really see him caring about her actual issues. I mean, we're 4 episodes in, right? I can't recall a moment where he's had a discussion with her to find out what's really going on with Treasure. I
Mhm.
cannot. All I can hear is, and rightly so, yes, she drinks a lot, and you want to talk about that she shouldn't drink so much. I hear that, right? That's cool. We haven't got nowhere near with him in terms of, so why do you drink that much? What's happening to you that you're doing this? What's happening to you that you're feeling this way? What are your actual feelings here? None of that has come out because he
Not even
doesn't
I'm
care.
concerned that you
Not
actually
even this.
drank that much.
No,
It's just
it's
she drinks too much.
that's it. That's it.
And the
You know what
and
I
the
mean?
funniest truth too, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the funniest
That's
truth
right.
too is at the end of all of him being confronted about what he called her, when she left the room, he sat there and said, "Now she's trying to make me look bad."
Mm,
It's like, how did we get back? You called the lady a hurtful term, a hurtful slur, and she's making you look bad by
yeah,
calling you out on the truth.
he did the same thing to Sir Brock. I don't know if you remember. He actually
Hmm.
did the exact same thing to Sir Brock.
Yeah,
Exact same thing when Sir Brock came to sit down amongst him and Noor. He did the exact same thing.
yeah.
So you trying to make me look bad, like, but I was like, he's a dangerous one. He is. He manipulates.
Hmm. Very
Mm,
much so. Very
mm,
much so. And it leads us to the labels that they got. So I got most of
yeah.
them that I think I can get off of there. So
Okay.
Molly had humble diva, outspoken, charming, superficial, high maintenance, reckless, uninspired, confident, generous, has been, homewrecker, fake. Most of those, I can bet you, most of those sweet nothings were from Treasure.
mm,
I can guarantee she gave him most of the ones that was sitting there and
positive.
said charming, generous, and I can give her that. She could probably know if he's generous more
Yeah.
than anybody
She actually
else.
said that. She actually said that later on. So she
Hmm.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, if he's charming and confident and stuff, but the rest of the terms, I'm like, brother, you got some things to work on. And I mean, these were pretty much terms that almost everybody got.
Mm,
There was only like one or two people that got little less
yeah.
terms. It was like you even got the has been term. Like you're a has been, bro. Like
They supplied him with all of it, bro.
now I'm not gonna lie, because this particular little game right here can make people be petty because they see one person go
Of
to
course.
put a thing on their stickers, they gotta go and put it on theirs. So some of these things don't necessarily be true, but there are people out here thinking these things about each other. And these are some of the thoughts, like Dr. Ish said, that these actual terms came from
The
what they
internet.
had written on their social media by people before.
Mm,
The interesting thing was where at the end they had those word those notes, the sentence that they never told anybody. Those they had to share.
mm,
And so Molly, he sat there and said, "There's nothing he wants the public to know about him." And basically, he manages himself and others.
mm.
So he's trying to tell us that he got his stuff together and he needs no help.
He's perfect, which is probably why he's in the situation he's in right now.
Hmm.
He's perfect. He doesn't do no wrong.
Yes. So again, The reason why we're here is because it's all treasure. I have no reason to be here.
I don't know why he's here then. Unless you're here to cut a check, then why be here with treasure?
Yet it's because we're sitting here instead of going through the process, trusting the process, as we like to keep saying.
Mm.
We want to sit in and waste everybody's time by withholding information because technically you've been in foster care. And part of your reason for for being so generous and wanting to help others is to help others that have a story like yours. So something
Mm.
happened.
Mm. That's
But
true.
you can't help the others until you're ready to help yourself.
Mm.
So if we're going to sit in this program and we're not going to actually share and open up, like you say, why are we here?
Because if so, I've met a few people who've been in like orphanages or been in the system, child system, and one of the blind spots that they don't see is the quote that I always use, which is those who have not been protected are the most protective. Now, either you're protective of people or you're protective of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And what Molly is protective of self. So that's why he talks about managing himself. But that managing himself excludes treasure. It's so long as I'm good because that's what it is in the orphanage. If you're in a, if you've been taken into an orphanage or taken into a child services, you have to survive.
Mm-hmm.
There is no we. There's only I, right? Unless you're lucky and you meet someone who's incredible in there with you or whatever, but that's a rarity. You have to defend you. At any moment, you can go with a parent; they can bring you back. You know what I mean? Like it's mad out there. Or you can be in another home where there's abuse happening as well. So you've gone to a safe place and it's not, it seems like a safe place and it's not. So you have to save you and survive you. That's the blind spot. Because if you don't get the therapy to deal with those issues that you're facing of how, and I always say this word, it's not a diagnosis, emotional PTSD, meaning that you've gone through something and it's like there's a trauma that happens after, like you get triggered after anything, right? And the trigger here is that, listen, whenever and that's why he has to be in control, because the moment he comes out of control, that's going to remind him of when he was younger. It's like, I was never in control. I never could. If someone wants to do something to me, they could, because I was a kid. Do you know what I mean? And so that managing of self, that selfishness that he has, I don't want anyone to mistake it, because I think sometimes we throw this narcissism word too much around and we don't know nothing. This is not narcissism. This is just, he is just selfish because all he thinks about is surviving. Molly needs to survive. Molly needs to survive. And if somebody else can be involved in that, they can be involved in whatever I need them to be involved in. But I'm not going to think about what they need because it's only about me. And that's his blind spot that he can't see, which is why I think he treats Treasure the way he does. But also as well because he's not his partner. He just sees her as something to be used, and
Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
yeah, and it also, the foster care also stems off of his interactions with Brock.
Mm,
Um, I'm not going to try to guess what happened in foster care.
yeah.
There's a lot of things that can happen in foster care or whatnot, but the fact that you can joke about somebody else's lifestyle choices, but when they make a correlation between the way your lifestyle choices are and theirs, and they say, well, I can assume the same of you because of just a fingernail polish, and you blow up the way you do. Men get clear nail polish, men get black nail polish. There's a lot of people that has no question of their sexuality just because they go get a manicure. But the fact that you blew up the way you did to a point that it got to almost a actual altercation leads me to believe that something else is going on. I don't know if it's all out homophobia or something else, but there's some other issues that you need to work on because you have joked about this man on a few occasions and he has said nothing to you. And so when he actually starts to try to stand up for himself, and how it even got there, it was really weird because he sat there and said, "Excuse, you mind if I sit down?"
Mm,
And it was like,
Yeah.
brother, you don't have to ask. You don't have to ask or whatnot and stuff. And then you went off into a whole nother tandem
Tangent. I
about.
was like,
And again, you made it seem like he started it. He didn't even start it. He just asked to sit down. I was like, am I lost? I had to watch it back a few times. What? What? So it was just really weird in that moment and stuff. And I'm not gonna tell the brother's story. I'm gonna let him tell it, and hopefully it gets out. But you got to chill, because if you like, Tough said the best thing in that moment. He said, if a man is secure in himself, he is not going to question another man's sexuality. Period. He's not going to worry about it. And once again, I don't think that resonated with Molly, because here we are again outside in front of other company acting a plum fool. And like you said, trying to blame it on Brock, as if Brock said something to him. When all in all reality, you got mad about him asking to sit down. I don't
it's
know.
true.
Why did it make you so uncomfortable? I have no idea.
It's so true. Especially after he's the one that made the first joke, Molly.
Mm-hmm.
He said about he loves balls, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. You made that first joke, and as soon as the joke's made back on you, you while out. You're
What you,
actually showing a bit more. You're showing yourself. Do you
yeah,
know what I
I
mean?
don't like nobody insinuating this. Like, nobody insinuated nothing. He actually said, I can make the assumption because you go and get your nails done. The same thing. And easier right there and there, you could have said, you could make that assumption, but I'm not.
Mm.
And that had been the end of discussion.
Yeah.
But you took a whole nother turn and made it just seem like he punched you in the gut.
That's what I'm telling you, man. That's that wild protective of self, man. It comes
Mm-hmm.
out and it starts to attack, man. Because attacks, as they say, attacks one of the best defenses. As soon as you was going to be labeled, or he felt like he was being labeled being gay, as soon as he felt that, he went into attack mode. Because actually, the conversation, just even preluding to what you just said, was that he actually told Brock, before you make a judgment, get to know the person, bruh. He just told him to get to know the person, and then you end up attacking the person while not getting to know the person yourself. So you're hypocritical, and you're
Mm-hmm.
hypocritical because you are flying your emotions. And what you don't realize is that you're actually operating deep in your emotions. See, sometimes a lot of these times when men think they're strong, they're actually the weakest ones because they fly off emotions, but it's masked with rage. So rage looks masculine. It's not. It doesn't mean it's more masculine. You actually don't know how to control your emotions. That's why it's coming out as rage. You know what I mean? So rather than you actually sitting there and listening to Sir Brock and listening to gauge a conversation to get an understanding, as you were saying yourself, you failed to do the very thing you said. And
Mm-hmm.
that in itself is poverty of mind. You're unable to accomplish the things that you've actually said you were going to do in terms of relational issues with people. You can be successful in business, by the way. You can always be successful in business, but have absolutely crappy ways of dealing with people because you don't know how you understand business when it comes to money, but you don't understand the business of people. You
Right.
know, and that's what Money's doing right now. And I'm even downplaying it because when I watched it, I said that's the way he's behaving is homophobic. Like that would be what I would class homophobic. You know what I'm saying? Because of the way he flew off the handle
Mm-hmm.
twice. First in the room with J Tuff and so Brock then coming at him saying, I don't know why he's saying he came to my party. When then he came like, I was like, bro, like what the frick?
Everybody
Why are you
comes to
so
your party.
stressed? Yeah, everybody comes to your party. So I'm gonna beg it and say I came to your party. Like why why
And then
why
you
this
said you didn't
energy?
even remember the dude when he came.
So why are you stressed? Why are you pressed? You know, you're showing your own tendencies. And
You're courteous, you're generous, you want to help others. But if a man says he's been to your party that has a sexual preference that doesn't agree with yours, then
suddenly,
he's a clout chasing. He's this, that, and stuff. So something, your slip is showing, sir. That's all I'm gonna say is your slip is showing. Get it together. And especially you're in a business where you work with other people.
mm,
Their bedroom business is not your business, yes. But if they're openly about their business, it shouldn't bother you.
you shouldn't. None of the
If you're secure, it should not bother you. Now, if they're hitting up on you, that's a different story, but that's neither here nor there.
Which he wasn't. So yeah,
He sure wasn't, you
yeah.
know. And
Mm,
then we got Brock and Amber. These two right here, boy. I understand this is a high school sweetheart thing. This is a long term thing, but some things need to just come to an end for real, because the moment you guys have a good moment and you're on the same page, then it blows all up again. You guys are ticking time bombs with each other and it makes no sense
sense.
at all. Like, seriously, how do you? And then when you guys are the most insecure when it comes to what other people think too, that's the
Mm,
crazier part. Amber says that she lives her life for the public. Basically, she doesn't have nothing to keep from the public. And Brock has basically told the public most of his business. Yet when we play the games of labels, you two are the most pissed off about the
about it.
labels that you got.
Even though you know the public what they're gonna say about you because you've lived that life, apparently.
I didn't get it at all. It's like, what is the problem right here? Okay, this is what your castmates think about you guys. Does it really matter what people think about you, how you think about yourself? That's the thing. So a lot of these labels, you must already think about yourself.
Mm,
And seeing them on there by people that you just met makes it more realistic. But this is what the public's been saying about you, or potentially saying about you, for however long you've been in the public's eye. What's the problem?
mm,
When you have that confidence in self, you don't worry about what other people are thinking about you, as long as you're not doing harm to other people. You are the only person that you care about what your thoughts is in your inner close circle. Those are the only people that thoughts you really care to. The people that you look up to, the people you call your mentors, your family members, some of them, not all of them. Those people's opinions of you matter to you. But strangers, people I just met, you don't know me well enough. You can label me whatever you like. Maybe one day you'll see that person, whoever you label, play with me if you want to. Like, I just didn't get it. I just wish they kind of would. I mean, confrontational was kind of the closest
mm.
that we got to it, but I was like, we need to go ahead and use the abusive word for one of them.
Well, I guess we'll talk about that in episode 4. But yeah, it comes back again. But yeah, they Rock and Amber, they bond. They bond on a common enemy, the world.
Hmm.
That's how they bond. And the world is always going to be an enemy. So they're going to be stuck in this position until they stop, until they start to open their eyes properly to what the real enemy is, which is each other. Because they see, again, they got real close in this episode again because everybody else was getting onto them. You know, um, and so it's like they bond over these kind of situations. And listen, nothing wrong with that. Listen, as a couple, I think you want to be able to bond when the world is trying to come against you. But in
Hmm.
this particular case, when you two are actually the worst enemies of each other, this is not what we want you to do. We need you to split because it's not safe. And I'm not going to say it's not safe for both parties. It's not safe for one person, physically, I mean, but it's not safe emotionally for both people.
No.
You know what I mean? Watching them two interact. So yeah, they decided it was going to be them two, Mr. and Mrs. Smith against the whole world. We're going to come at everybody. We're going to show everybody what it is. They need to know what we are. Blah 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 blah. No one can talk about us. How they're going to be talking about our labels when you're this and that, you're this and that. And it's like, yo, you hurt right now, and that's okay. That's okay. Let's deal with that. Let's actually
Hmm.
sit in that and deal with it. But this is what a lot of people do. The pain that they're feeling, their first reaction is rage, it's wrath, it's anger, and that's a normal reaction, but you can't act on it. The Bible says, listen, don't let the anger go down on your son. It says, be angry, but sin not. The sin is actually the action that normally happens as a proceeding from the anger. So when you're angry in that moment, when you make a decision, oftentimes it's not a righteous one.
Hmm.
And so that person needs to calm the heck down soak it in, take it in, analyze what's happened, and then when they're much more calmer and they're more in their logical bag, then they can begin to proceed forward in terms of what can we do. But both of them did the exact same thing, which is why the relationship is volatile. Both were
Mhm.
emotional, both resorted to anger straight away, and as soon as they did that, everybody's got to get it. I
Petty
mean,
beget petty.
petty beget petty, which is why
You
they do
know.
to each other.
And it's interesting that you say that we lash out in the anger. So it's like, where did the anger come from? And when we
Mm,
get to Amber's secret message, we find out she suffers with depression.
listen,
And it a lot of different forms of depression, a lot of different forms. Sometimes it is all out anger. you know it comes out in different ways. Some people manifest it in just being overly positive, some go into a slump, and some become what she is, volatile and abusive. I don't know if it's while drinking or off of drinking, but it's kind of hard to tell in the house because the house is full of alcohol. So every time you see her in a volatile state, she has a glass in her hand. That's also coping for the depression, which is not a good thing. If you're seriously dealing with depression, the worst thing you want to do is turn to any other vice outside of God. Seriously. I don't want to be preaching or nothing like that, but nothing else can help you, because all it is, once again, is a cover, it's a mask, it's it's nothing. The depression will be there when it's gone, because that is something that you have to actually deal with. You have to go through. You have to, actually put in the work to get past it. And it's not easy, because it's calling yourself to mentally change a lot of the negative thoughts that are lurking in your brain. And I know for a fact that it's not easy to stay positive, but you have to, in those moments, and alcohol will not help you at all stay positive, because some people, when they get the liquid courage in them, they feel invincible. And if you already have a rage issue after depression, all you do is fight. That's all she's just doing right now. Every chance she gets that she's not happy about something, she wants to fight any and everybody in her way. That needs help. But we can help her, because we know what the issue is. It's stemming from a depression. What's causing the depression? That we have to find out, but we at least know she's suffering. Any thoughts on it before we move on?
Just with them two, I just again I don't see them two being together. But I think they both could use some time alone and some time to heal. And to Block, like I said, he didn't know she was going through depression.
Yeah.
Maybe because she always puts up the um, hard walls, and showing that she's always tough. They probably never saw that, and it was a good moment to see. That's a positive at least.
Yeah. And I gave him credit, because he says he's never actually cheated on her
Mm.
while they were together. So that should give her some relief. Will it?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, they were accusing each other of cheating on each other, weren't they, throughout the whole
Yeah.
show, and
Yeah.
the labels thing. So hopefully, it gives her
It,
comfort. But
but see, that's that confusion when we're still kind of off and on,
mm,
because I might be off and you're still on, and so you, while I'm off, I'm over here doing my thing, but in your head we're still
it's
on. So
long.
that's
Don't
why
be
you
off and
sometimes
on,
got to make
guys.
a clean break with people.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Don't be
come
off and
back,
on.
but just make a clean break. You both need to, seriously, you both just need to know that we're off right now.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. 100%.
Speaking of cheaters, Jamal and Molly and Moni Love,
Mm,
my favorite cheater on this show right now. Like, he is out of control. Woo, jeez.
mm.
Uh,
The brother said.
episode three.
The brother said. You're the reason. No, that was last episode. But this episode.
It didn't make
Wait,
it no
no.
better.
Huh?
I don't. It didn't make it no better.
Yes, because okay, sorry, my bad. I was thinking of episode 2, but this episode, when she shared about being in an abusive relationship, and he said, and obviously she had told him she had been in an abusive relationship.
Hmm.
She had only shared it with him, and now she shared it with the world. And she said, obviously, he didn't make it a safe space, basically, when she told him the information, and he failed her again. I said, brother, how could you fail this part? All you have to do was listen. Like how, like were you so engraved in your own bullcrap that you couldn't see hers? Like this is bad.
And said that he didn't never think about the fact what he was doing could hurt her mentally. No, excuse me. I was trying
Bless
to
you.
mute it. I was trying to mute it, but it did. It just decided to come.
What did you think was gonna happen?
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. The selfishness again coming through. Like, listen, we can all like no relationship is perfect, but the level of selfishness I'm seeing for some of these people in the show is crazy. Crazy.
And it was worse than that because in their private confessional, that the little in the clip or whatever, she goes to explain that she already had 3 kids when she met him. And so
Mhm.
basically they have the fourth together. But then he goes and says he thought about her leaving her several times, but they have a 13-year-old. So basically you're in this relationship
Because of the kid.
for the kid. But what you're doing is teaching your kid toxic love.
Mm. Mm.
You're doing your child a disservice. Sometimes really when we already made the mistake and had a kid out of wedlock, it's better to correct it by just co-parenting
Mm.
if we can't properly parent
Together.
together. And I'm not
In love.
saying that they're bad parents or not,
No,
because
no, no, no.
the outside mistakes doesn't make you neglect.
Bad person. Yeah.
Yeah. But kids can pick up on the energies of their parents. And if the love, if something's going on or whatnot, they can feel that. And then,
100%.
you're cheating on the mom and the mom is taking you back. This is what you're teaching your child love is.
Mm.
And so they have to get out into the world and go through these experiences and be heartbroken several times just to realize that's not love.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes showing your children love in 2 different places is not a bad thing.
Especially if the one place that you guys share it together, it's not working.
Yeah,
No.
because we'll get into episode 4, but I seen a little bit of Moni's dark side and stuff, and yeah, baby girl, don't hold her tongue when she's pissed. So
This. Mm, yeah. Yeah. Even the little task they were doing, the way she was like, I'm not doing that.
hmm,
And he was like, okay. And I said, baby girl.
you already know. Like again,
Hmm. Because, he's bad. Don't get twisted, but we're starting to see a little bit of humor coming through a
yeah,
little bit,
yeah,
you know? Yeah.
yeah, and I'm not gonna take away, but sometimes when there's a thing what somebody is not doing at home, they'll go find elsewhere. So
Yes. I mean, girl was moving stiff. And I said, darling, if this is what you're doing in the bedroom, I'm not saying that you're the cause why he cheated. I'm just saying that, whenever someone cheats, you also have to try and find out as to the reasons why the person felt like that. And
mhm,
if this is how you're acting in the bedroom, darling, please, I need you to change. We can't have the stiffness there.
mm-mm,
Yeah, we
no.
can't have that stiffness.
And granted, it was an open environment, but you can't even role play a little bit outside.
Girl,
Like
she even trusted the snake. She was like, that snake, something about the snake. And I was like, baby girl, will you relax? We are role playing.
it's a music video. You've done these
Yeah.
before. You're not new to this.
But you are true to this.
You should be. I'm glad you was taking it.
Yeah.
It's just
Mm,
like, oh my geez. I'm starting to see, we could sit here and if we just listen to the one side, we would just blame him all day. But
yeah.
you have a part in it. And
Mm,
and maybe the part didn't start until after the cheating, but you're still there. Why?
that's the yeah, exactly. Exactly.
If you're gonna continue to punish him, why stay? Punish him but with your absence.
Mm,
At some point you gotta burl it back in and say, okay, I'm not paying for your studio time and all this stuff no more. But I still love you. And if I still love you, then I still should be able to do all the things that I was doing once before if I've gotten past it. But if you can't get past it to even start to be you again,
mm,
I would really suggest just moving on and going finding you all over again because it'd
yeah.
just be so much simpler, you know. Like I say, hmm. the least, the least, the least stickered couple, of course, we expected was going to be Noria
When
and
yeah,
Neri
yeah.
or
Episode
whatnot.
3. There wasn't much that happened with them, was there? I'm
There
looking at my
wasn't much that
notes.
happened in episode 3, so we're gonna use them to segue to episode 4. But
That's come. Yeah.
yes, there wasn't much that happened. The one thing that stood out of all the things is that Nori hates getting compliments.
Yes. Yes, they did say that. Yes.
It was interesting because as we'll see in episode
Episode
4,
4. Now it makes sense. Yeah.
you you want 100% attention, your wife's attention 100%, no matter what the kids, family, friends, you want her attention when you're around, but you don't want the compliments, which is basically
Mm,
the same thing. Some of it is verbal because she would say some things to you verbally, and some things are physical compliments. But you don't want them. You rather give them to everybody else, which is really weird because I was like, you don't give her enough.
mm-hmm.
The thing you told her, the first thing you said was, she's impressive.
Yeah, because she stayed with me. So I came back down to him again.
You
Consistent,
didn't
at least.
you didn't say that she's impressive the way she takes care of the house, the kids, me, nothing. Just because she stayed with me. And I know I'm a lot.
Well, at least he knows that. That's a start.
There's a start. There's a silver lining.
There's a silver lining. He's not all the way lost, guys. He's
We
not all the
just
way
sold it
lost.
by a thread, just by a thread, though.
Not all the way lost.
I
Mm-mm.
said, whoa, my God, my God, what is happening here? I don't
Yeah,
think
man.
Nori even realizes.
No, he doesn't. I think until obviously until episode 4, but yeah, episode 3. I mean, when I heard that, I was like, wait, isn't that compliments? I was like, what the heck? Um, but episode 4 it makes more sense. But he doesn't like compliments, so he doesn't give his wife compliments. But I think also that's to do with not giving her compliments. Also, is sometimes there's a complacency there. There's a complacency that she's always going to be there. That's
Hmm.
one aspect. The other aspect is if I give her compliments, she might get too confident and get out. That's also another aspect that could be a possibility. And 3 obviously is because you don't do compliments, you just never give her a compliment. You just think that
But he says he rather put them on to other people and boast other people up. And don't get me wrong, he said his wife was the most beautiful thing. That's why his issues was stemming the way they were in episode 4. To
mm,
him, his wife is the most beautiful thing. He said it, and I appreciate that. But this the first 3 episodes, if anything
mm,
happened, it always came back to him.
yeah,
Even Dr. Ish was kind of shocked, like, what? How is this you? Most of your conversation is about you.
his wife is his validation.
Hmm.
Yeah. It obviously again, obviously wouldn't have known this until episode 4, but the insecurities that he has, forces the narrative of her to cover those insecurities by being sucked into his world. She doesn't have her own world. And you have to understand, everybody should have their own world. Everyone has to have their own world. You have to have your space where you do you and you be able to live part of your life. So you are in a relationship, you are married, you are two becoming one, but you have space to be you, and you
Hmm.
don't get sucked into somebody else's world. At least if you're going to get sucked into a world, it's going to be the world that both of you have created. At the
Right.
moment, she's been sucked into his world that he's created. And that's completely different. When two people create a world together, you see that both are contributors towards the world. At the moment, it is Noor's world, and she contributes to Noor's world. And in
Hmm.
that case, where that's why we see such a selfishness from Noor, where he can only see how great she is because she stayed with him.
Hmm.
But I also think there's a realization from Noor, and I want to give him some kudos that I was kind of expecting some more pushback from him, right? Because I think because every other man on the show has been a woman as well, they struggle to see their shortcomings.
Yeah.
But at least what I'm getting with Noor, at least what we're getting so far, seems to be when he does get told, he's kind of deep in it.
Hmm.
He's kind of getting it and going, okay, I'm kind of seeing what you're saying, right? It'll take a little while, I'm sure, for it to translate, but you know, even when he's saying, for instance, I know I'm a lot. I think that the truth of the matter is, I think he knows there's a lot of shortcomings with Noor,
Hmm.
right? And he's obviously very appreciative of his wife. Now, I
Yeah.
don't know if he's ever cheated or anything like that. We never got that story. We never got anything like that. So I'm gonna keep it as that he hasn't cheated, right? And that in itself is impressive. It's an impressive
Hmm.
feat. If you haven't done that in the industry that he's in, and I'm not trying to make him a golden goose, but the industry that he's in, as one of the men that as well in that scenario, these men will easily do stupid
Yep.
stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? So the fact that he's at this place where he's seemingly being faithful, and he can see that he's not healed, and he knows
Hmm.
that his wife is covering a lot, and I think he just needs help. That is what he needs. But a lot of times it's very hard to kind of say I need help. But I think in
Yeah.
episode 4, Dr. Ish got his ish together. Even I felt bad for him.
Yeah.
When Dr. Ish was going at him, I said, Dr. Ish, okay, I think he got it, so you can relax. But he went in again, and I said, okay, well, he's got to do his job. You know what I mean? Maybe he has to get the message. So, yeah, shout out
Yeah.
Dr. Ish.
I think it was a few reasons why Dr. Ish went in on
Yeah,
him the way
yeah,
he did, though. It wasn't just, but he did let him see, and that's what you do appreciate about Nori is that he self reflects through this whole process. He doesn't look at his wife and say, "Well, this is what she needs to be doing,
yeah,
and you guys need to be doing this or whatever." For the most part, till we
yeah,
get to episode 4, then he starts passing on his judgments to others. But
yeah.
but for the most part, he takes it all in because he even at the end of episode 3, he basically says it none of it made sense until now when
Hmm.
we see it as a whole, and so you have to trust the process.
I wish he trusted it in episode 4, but yeah, yeah.
Like I say, I don't know if the brother cheated, but he done seen some things in the industry, and he like, I am not here for it at all.
He was not like, it's so interesting that he's so protective over her. I say that
Hmm.
that's more of a more positive word. The way he's so jealous over her,
Yeah.
right? Because in episode 4, the territorial markings were a lot. Like, brother was losing composure. Man had to walk upstairs up to the bedroom to take some time out because he saw a brother who he knows do a dirty dancing lift up. Brother, it wasn't even like she was even going to grind on him. A dirty dancing lift up. And you were getting to a part where you're having heart palpitation, you go up the stairs. That's a problem. And
Hmm.
that speaks to a really deep wound inside. And that's where the control comes from. That is
Hmm.
where the me, the selfishness of me comes on. If I stop you from worshiping me, you may leave me. So
Yeah.
I gotta make sure you keep on worshiping. You know what I'm saying? Keep sacrificing for me. And that will make you stay. But if I
Hmm.
lose that, then you're gonna be gone. Which is why she can't have her own life.
She can't even have a life with the fish.
What? She be kissing the fish and he's getting jealous over the fish. Like it's Finding Nemo.
I was like, okay, the fish followed around. He like, okay, little fish,
That's enough now. You end up on my,
swim away,
my dinner plate.
swim away. It was, yeah, that. That was madness. I was like, oh wow, now here's Nori.
Mm.
Here's Nori. Because
The
we've
real
been waiting.
beast.
We've
Mm.
been waiting. The shell's been slowly cracking. And here we are because this whole process had him so shook to the point he changed three of the four couples' opinions of what they were doing
Yeah.
to the point that it started a whole rebellion with him and Moni.
Mm.
Like, are you serious? And you're saying, I knew this was coming. I watched the show. Y'all don't watch the show. I knew this was coming. So, and you just said the night before, trust the process.
Mm-hmm.
So you knew it was going to be a jealousy thing.
Yeah.
Yet your jealousy is so deep that you couldn't even control it, even when you knew it was going to happen.
Mm.
He's doing a scene from Dirty Dancing. It's a little erotic movie because of the build up of the
Mm.
relationship in the movie, but the dance
It's not
itself,
even that deep.
the dance is not deep. And I don't think that they were going to do the kiss period anyway.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do the kiss. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That wasn't, the lift was barely doable for both of
For
y'all.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's not a real, that's, you got to have a dancer's body and a dancer spirit for that lift. That's just, nobody was going to do that lift. Okay. But for the fact that you made them so, your insecurities pushed off on them so much that they changed their whole routine to make you feel good. Because, like you said, when he went to the room, first you walked away while they were practicing to go have you a smoke break. Then you went up to the room to basically follow her up there and made her feel bad about the moves. It was okay when you guys were practicing because this is what the problem is. This is her favorite movie. Because it's her favorite movie and you love her so much, you know how she feels about this movie. It brings something to her and it melts her on the inside. But what melts her more on the inside is her husband. And not once did you trust that she can control herself during this dance. She could still do this dance and control herself. And so that's part of the reason why Dr. Ish got on him because it was like, bro, you're projecting your insecurities on her to the point you're suffocating her. And how does that make her feel? And we do this sometimes with our partners, especially when we get into this amount of jealousy, that we make them feel some type of way that they change their behaviors without even trusting to see, let me see what you do. Let me see if you're even worth me being jealous of. Because if you're worth me being jealous of, I don't even have to be jealous. Because I know you're going to always think about me and be on your, I don't even like to say be on your best behavior, but you're
Mm.
going to be on your behavior because you love me.
Yep.
I don't have to be jealous.
100.
So that's why I was like, for a second, where it was like, well, did you do something in the past? I don't get that vibe from you, Nori, but
Well, I mean, to be honest, I mean, you know, I came to party.
I
Your girl was
that's
looking at me. You know what I mean?
that's what I'm saying. It
I mean, I'm sure. Again, let's say he hasn't done anything, but let's say he's been around that scene. He
mm-hmm,
sees how easy it is for someone to step into that place, right? You've probably seen your boys catching these girls. And the problem with this is that if there's not an original narrative, if there's not a strong narrative for you personally, that not all women are hoes or postcode chicks or vixens or booty whatever or clout chasers, then what happens is you actually take that narrative on. Now you might not say it explicitly, but it's seeped into your subconscious. So now you don't trust any woman really because you know that all these women have a capacity to be the postcode girl or the hoe girl or to be out here in the streets, right? And truth of the matter is, a lot of times when you're saying you don't trust someone, it's because you don't trust yourself. I'm not saying
mm-hmm,
it's every situation, but there's a lot of situations like that. If you cheated, I've always said, if you have cheated before, you're gonna find it very hard to trust somebody,
mm-hmm.
especially if you've cheated with somebody who was in a relationship. Then you already know you're not gonna find it easy to trust a girl that you're with because you already know that she can smile in your face, love you, look at you, and cheat on you because you've done the exact same thing with someone else's girl.
Right.
So the trust oftentimes is your actual own issue. Um, but his insecurity, his jealousy is is scary. Like I think everybody has an ounce of jealousy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's what you do with it that's really important. Some people, I think most of us, when we're more healthy, balanced, we might see our partner, maybe they flirt with some, maybe not even flirt, but maybe someone else is looking at them a certain way, and you might feel a flutter of jealousy, but you keep it to yourself and you keep it moving, right? You don't mention it, you don't talk about it.
Kind
It's
of
a
like
moment, it's
Treasure.
gone. Yeah,
I say Treasure that moment when she kept being called by Amber's name. She kept it. She just kept it moving.
just kept it moving, right? Even though I felt she had every right to, because I
Mm-hmm.
thought either that scene was produced or he's doing that to trigger her.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was, you know what I mean? Because it was just really odd that he did it twice in a second. I was like, nah, the way you're even saying it, I feel like you're trying to trigger her. But we'll come back to them anyway. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So so again, I think Dr. Ish, got his ish together for Noor and said, listen, your distrust for her it became controlling, and that's the problem because it got to a point where you forced her now to not do even the lift, brother. She's not even whining on the man. She's just asking to be lifted. And you say you don't want to even touch the girl. So what happens? And that's why he missed the whole thing because he tried to outsmart the process. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
He tried to outsmart it because of his jealousy. So I want to try and get ahead of the game, but he missed it.
Missed the whole
Right?
thing.
He missed the whole thing. Luckily for him, his girl was not in the industry. She's at home. She's wife. She's being wife. But what are you gonna do if she's out with friends and you see a guy coming to talk to her, right? Bear in mind, someone might not know that's your wife, right? Just talking to her and the girls, right? He's there and she's just being polite because she doesn't want to be rude. She just want to be, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you happen to see it. You won't flip too? Yeah, brother. Because you would, because you flipped at
Mm-hmm.
this when you know the guy, and all they're doing is a scene where he lifts her by the side, not even at her chest, at the side haircuts, and you getting stressed. Nah, man. No, you
It
got to
it
sort out.
it'd have been different if it was Molly or Brock, the energy that they had
Mm.
already going. You're not even beefing with Tough or whatever. Tough
Yeah.
is not disrespectful or nothing like that. He actually rallied on your side to tell so Brock not to be doing and Treasure not to be doing what they doing or whatnot. And that's the problem. Your jealousy went to not just controlling your wife, but controlling the rest of the cast. You manipulated the way you did it because you didn't outright say it, but you want to sit there and tell them, you got to think about what your partner doing. The whole you watch the show, nobody else does, so you
Mm.
know that the whole purpose of this drill is not just to see how far people will go.
Mm.
It's to see how partners will react, seeing how far their partner would go. And sometimes it is about having self control, not you controlling everybody's business, that person controlling themselves.
Mm.
That's the whole nature of that whole experiment right there. You watch the show, you screaming up and down, I watched the show, I knew it was going to happen. So why didn't you just let it happen? Because you're that insecure and jealous that it just couldn't sit well until you had everybody up and uprights and basically changed all of their performances.
And it's actually really cheeky because I noted down that why didn't they also go to Amber and Molly, right? Because actually, the although they were getting at Sir Brock, actually it wasn't aimed at Sir Brock. It was aimed at Treasure
Mm-hmm.
because Sir Brock would have done whatever he wanted to do, but he didn't want to obviously disrespect Treasure, right? But the actual aim was at Treasure because they knew she would fold. But you didn't go to Amber and to Molly because you couldn't tell them that.
Mm-mm.
You can't tell them nothing. So even your control, no, that means it's conscious. You know who you can and can't do that thing to, which means you're turning it on and off. So you're choosing to be less self-controlled in a certain area and choosing to be controlled in a certain area because you know it can't work in this area.
Yep.
That proves that you have some level of control over what you do, which is why you're accountable for your actions.
Mm-hmm. So basically, we have nobody doing what they were doing. Treasure and Brock missed the assignment, which they were on it all the way up
You're
until
on,
the end or whatnot. And a little bit is because they were doing some more side practicing. It got a little. It's practice,
the side
man.
practicing was
Look, it's costume, wardrobe, full out
he
rehearsal.
had
Okay.
cheeks out, he had chest. He listen, he had he was
Wait,
there like he was ready to do
wait,
business.
he
Like
did that and then did the headset.
Is it? Oh, yeah, blow my mind, baby. Blow my mind.
I said, "Oh, you selling the whole video? I am not
Hmm.
mad.
I
This
said,
a
I'm not even
full
mad. I'm
rehearsal."
not mad. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Do your thing. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, there was some extra practice that was happening. And do you know what? It, it's one of those things where, unfortunately, context of where what's happened is that Molly and Amber have walked in to the room and seen that happen. So the context is really bad. Like you can't. I mean, I think these two would have practiced this anywhere they were. I think they
They
would have practiced it
were.
anywhere. They were practicing it anywhere. It didn't really make a difference, right? It could have been a trailer, could have been there, it could have been outside. But the practice is the exact same thing. It's the context of the fact that they came into the room and you've come in to see your girl doing that. I can see what this is the only part I can see Molly why he might be a little bit frustrated. It's the only time,
Hmm.
and Amber, right? That's the only time because of the context of everything happening. You've walked into the room, they're meant to be changing, and then they're doing that. So even if they were practicing, it's very difficult to sell that because of the context,
Right.
of the situation. Do you know what I mean? Um, and so it almost becomes if this was like your relationship and you're seeing this, you this is why the Bible says abstain from all appearances of evil. Listen, stay in the studio. If you're gonna do that kind of stuff, stay in the studio because now you bring it to the room. We associate bedroom with bedroom antics.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Even though I don't think that's what they were trying to do. I actually genuinely think they were trying to practice with a little hint of a source of, let's have a bit of fun. Let's be honest. Right? They were
Yeah.
having a bit of fun.
Yeah.
They
You
were.
might as well.
All right. They were having a bit of fun. Let's be honest. It's a freebie. You
Hey,
can
look.
touch upon each other and it's not considered cheat.
I'm selling the shot for the practice, man. Come on
There's
now.
the
Get my mind into it. That's all.
get my body into it too. Get my mind and my body into it.
All of it.
I want to make sure I'm fully invested.
I gotta make sure look it's acting.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
cameras is going.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was that moment. Then that's what I said earlier. That was that moment where Molly could have went off and should have went off.
Mm.
And
And
granted,
didn't.
Amber was already she turned away and then came back on a hiding level, back in hands in the face and
Hands
doing
in the
all the
face
extras
again.
again and
Pushing
stuff.
over the
And
head.
we mentioned this before. Once again, nobody stepped in. Nobody. He was
I,
back in the corner. Nobody stepped in,
he's
and
actually
she's
doing
still at the
this.
house.
I'm so confused.
You could see
Why?
it in his face. It wasn't a joke. He wasn't laughing. You know how some
Yep.
guys like chill my like with the laugh. He wasn't even doing it. He was really concerned in the face. Like, could y'all get her?
And nobody did. Nobody did.
I was like, okay, here we go again. This is two. This is twice. This is twice.
And the worst thing about that scene was, and this is why people like Amber are very dangerous. And it's not the pushing that's dangerous. What's really dangerous is he said, "Put your hands on me. I want you to lead the show. Put your hands on me and lead the show."
Hmm.
She knows exactly what will happen if he puts her hands on her. That is scary that somebody can understand there's a double standard and is even willing to say it to your face. Go on, put your hands on me, because what will happen is
Hmm.
you'll lead the show. Go on. While she's at simultaneously putting her hands in your face and putting it in your head.
And what good
And
does it do for
nobody in the
any
show
of you?
came for her.
Yeah, and what good does it do for any one of you? Because now neither one of you guys is getting any lessons. You're gonna end up still messing with each other, and it's still gonna be the same toxic cycle. So you're basically saying, I don't want to work on this. I want to leave it as it is because I like it as it is. I like this toxicity. It works for me.
Mm.
And then you didn't stop there. After everybody was dressed, you carried it back downstairs
Yeah.
and started up there. It's almost like you and Molly talked about it some more and came downstairs to kind of finish it off.
Yeah.
Now you got everybody downstairs in an uproar because they have no clue what's going on and stuff. And here we go, Molly telling what he really feels because everybody's now downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
You had no reason to call that girl all of those things because your insecurities and your feelings was hurt because she was doing what she normally does on her regular job with her clothes on. Sir, You know what you're with. And not saying anything is wrong with exotic dancing, but that's what she does. She gets paid to do that. She gets paid to be a video vixen. She dances. You guys have said it. This is where she shines. So now you're gonna call her a thought and tell her basically I can get more of you anytime I feel like it. It's nothing wrong with her. Not in this moment. That's all you, sir. That's all you. Because your insecurity is so low that you feel like you're going to get somebody you feel is lower than you and make them feel less of themselves to be with you. That's mad. Then you guys didn't stop there because between Nori and you two, y'all done got Moni in an uproar. Now, Moni didn't want to do the stuff in the first place, so she was looking for any excuse
Any to get out of that.
to get out of it. And
Any.
y'all
The
gave her the
worst
perfect
video.
thing.
Worst video ever.
Yes. And she quickly slapped it down and said, "This is causing a divide in the house. This. It's like, no, baby, that's not
Baby.
causing a divide. The house been divided since the night before. You just don't want to do it."
And that's the thing, utilizing a moment to try and sell an agenda.
Yes.
We see you, Moni. You're not smart.
I was like, oh, I, I'm sorry. I was just like, Moni, you're coming off in a way that I'm kind of turned off. Like
Mm-hmm. Stiff. You're sounding like a real British person right now. Stiff.
little prude.
Stiff. Yeah. Stiff. I don't know if that's how you were when you're younger. I doubt that was probably how you were, but you've grown stiff.
Mm-hmm.
Real stiff. You've lost that spice, that funk. Listen, and I know somebody will say, listen, when you have 3 kids, whatever, it can tell you that. But listen, I'm just saying, that you got to find that spark again.
Yeah.
Because it brings it down, the energy down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it brings energy
You got to do
down.
something with it. And here's the funny part. This was the part that made me laugh the most. Is her and Jamal is basically saying that Amber, Molly, Brock, and Treasure are like
The
going
most
to be the most
jealous.
jealous
Yeah,
couples, and it was like, no, technically, you and Nori were
actually,
the
the
most
most
jealous.
jealous. Yeah, you're just controlled of yours.
Mm-hmm. He's manipulative with his, and you're controlled.
Mm.
But these two, these ones, been doing what they've been doing
Mm-hmm.
since day one. There wasn't much change in it,
Nope.
not at all. Because you was kind of you was a little worried when he was sitting there saying, I know she ain't gonna do no bouncing, no twerking, no nothing and stuff. Oh, is that what you want? I was like, yeah, that's what he wants. That's your man.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to bump and grind all up in it. I mean, luckily for you, you didn't, so you didn't have to change much of the routine.
That's
But
true. Yeah, she only had one move, wasn't it? Was to grind
to
on
be
him,
on the
and
lap,
I
yeah,
think
to
Nor,
be
I
on
think
the lap.
Nor took that out in it,
And then they stayed 6 feet away from each
away from
other,
each other.
doing some weird something. I was like, okay, we doing hip hop or something. I was like, okay, all right.
We had Nor at one point doing what the frick? It's meant to be a sexy video, bro. Is that how you sang I Came to Party? That's not how you did it. Why are you now acting as if you don't know how to do a sexy video, bro?
Madness, madness, and I mean, then we got the winners because Brock and Brock and Treasure, they kind of did the routine, but then they kind of switched up on
Switch
it
up is,
a
yeah.
bit, and I was just like, why did y'all switch up? You guys were fine,
Because they're the ones that have the most feeling in their relationship.
because and then everybody kept coming to
To
them
them.
from
Yeah.
literally everybody is set. Well, shoot, Monique basically came to him at the end too. Everybody came at him,
Mm.
and so they were just backed into the corner at this point. And the two that's backing people in the corner did they full out routine,
Yep, did their full
not zero
routine.
cares.
I mean, she was literally bouncing her bottom on his dick. Like, sorry to
Flipped
say it.
over into a
He
headstand
lifted
on
her
it.
left and doing this, and I said, "Oh my god."
Not to mention earlier in the day, he was giving her all kind of compliments and telling her how much he was going to work with her and do all of this stuff. So I was like,
Yeah,
okay, are you purposely trying to make people
that's
jealous?
that's why I said either production will be messy, or this guy fully tried to trigger Treasure, because the whole calling her Amber twice, and then the compliments at the table, like, you the like one of the best MC, your energy did it. I'm like, really? And then, you know what I mean? And then you get put together on a dance thing, and then you go full out like that. But I'm not gonna lie to you. If I am Treasure, I am blowing the house up. Yeah, I'm blowing the house up, because you started from earlier on, and this is what happens when people are manipulative and are. I'm not saying he is at this moment, but when people are abusive, right? People think, oh, he just no. Listen, he started from earlier on the day and has done little things, and you're just seeing this last part that broke the camel's back, and you're thinking, I'm blowing up on a mad thing. Nah, listen, he's been like, I honestly would have blown up. I would
Hmm.
have blown up, because that for me, either production of being messy, or he literally is trying to trigger her to the moon.
Yeah.
I hope that's production, because that's disgusting.
And I don't see why production is trying to trigger her there, because that's the last person you need to trigger because she already has a
She already
drinking
has
problem.
enough for you. She can
Yeah.
drink her way out of things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You don't need to trigger her any further and stuff like that. So it once again it shows that them two really don't need to be together long distances. They don't even need to be that. Like you don't
she's
need to
dying
be
an
that.
early death.
Because he has shown how he really cares about you. Twice he calls you by somebody else's name, and sitting in front of you, he wants to big up and shower this other person with compliments. And granted, in that moment, it could have been directed more to Brock than it is to you, but he used you as collateral damage because you're
Yeah,
sitting there. Then take the lap dance and all this from the girl or whatnot. And like I say, depending on when the confessionals are taped,
it's not looking good.
not at all. And then at the end, try to flip it back on you
Mm-hmm.
as if you're making him look bad and he's sick of it. I said, oh, these egos,
He goes
these egos is out of
control.
control. He don't care. He don't care. He calling, but he calling you thoughts, and he got other boss itches, other boss bees or whatever and stuff like that. He can call, waiting for him. Actually, that's what he really said, waiting for him. So why are you wasting her time?
Because part of him wants her, isn't it? It's power.
Mhm.
Power and controls to have over somebody, knowing you can keep them there.
Yeah, because you can't do that with the boss itches.
Exactly.
And not saying
Yeah.
that she's not one, but
But she cares more than others. That's the problem.
hmm
She's caring too much now. And
yeah,
my problem with this is, like I keep saying, people, when you enter a toxic relationship, if you stay long enough, the mud is bound to flick onto you eventually. You can't stay clean forever. Now Treasure's talking about, wait till I start blowing stuff up. Baby girl, now we're in a full blown toxic relationship. And when you get into that space, it's even harder to get out,
right.
because now you're thinking you're winning by being toxic and blowing up stuff of theirs, and they're blowing you up. It's like we're doing tit for tat, and it's like you're thinking you're winning because you've got some power to do that, but actually what you don't realize is you're sinking deeper and deeper into a relationship where you're not getting out, you know.
hmm Like I say, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I,
Mm,
that's why I had to stop my petty life after a while because it was just like it being petty is just as much as cheating. You
yeah,
can't trust the person because
that's it.
you're always thinking to one up the person. You're
Mm,
always trying to
you
catch
just
them
do them over.
first. Hmm
Yeah,
And sometimes they ain't
100%.
even doing nothing.
Straight up,
Yeah.
straight up.
Jeez. And this is we ain't even got to the blow up yet. So jeez. We supposed to have a few more blow-ups from a few more people, and I don't even know why. So I'm just like, oh gosh, I don't know. I don't
You're
know.
wondering what more they can blow up on, but to be honest, by the look of this, they could blow up on a lot more. To be honest, there's a lot more
Hmm.
if people are going to behave the way they're behaving. It's only a matter of time, really.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time, and it's ticking.
It's ticking. Yeah, it's ticking. Hmm.
We are in a house full of live bombs, people. Yeah,
Listen, at any moment,
any
ticky ticky
moment.
boom boom, as our brother Sean would say, ticky ticky boom boom.
Right.
At any moment.
Whew. Well, my brother, I thank you again for joining me on this discussion.
No worries.
Hopefully, if you guys out there watching get anything from the contact, please drop down in the description box. I mean, not in the description, but in the comment chat below, and let us know what you thought, your thoughts on it and stuff. And if you have any more topics that you guys want us to talk about, you can leave it below in the comments, or you can also email me at anotherround010@gmail.com. I'll let my brother let you know where you can find him on all his platforms.
Yeah, guys, you can follow me on Little Black Book 91. That's Little Black Book 91. That's on Insta. That's also on YouTube as well. Follow us for more great content as well. Appreciate you guys.
Yes, and definitely don't forget to follow me on IG at the Sexy Tomboy. Follow my co-host Sean at Sean Davis 120 on IG, and also go subscribe to his YouTube channel, Sean Unfiltered. All right. Thank you guys all for hanging with us. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until another time, stay glass full and another round.